viewers, and welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got a 2007 Subaru. It's got the big 2.5 wheel bearing shot, and it's up to us to get it changed. So I've got all the parts here. We've got the new bolts, the new seals, the bearings, and the snap ring, and all the stuff we should need. So let's get started. If your drum's stuck on there like that, in a perfect world, you'd get back here and you'd back off the star wheel adjuster. But let's be honest, it's a mother to get to on these Subarus. They're kind of buried in back behind on the, I don't know, the spindle, I guess. They're just a pain. So if you can kind of lightly, gingerly tap it off, go for it. That baby's ready to go back in. We just got to wipe the grease off it. We got the race off. Easy peasy. We have to remove the bracket here for the ABS wire. These things are oftentimes not friendly. Like to get all twisted up. This bottom one, not so much. The top one, it can be ugly. And you might have to do what you have to do. AKA, leave it in and just kind of bend it out. Otherwise, you make a mess out of it. That one comes right loose. Now who's the liar? Oh, she wants to twist right there. So stop what you're doing. Twist the little bracket back because it ain't gonna take much more. And no PB Blaster is going to help you there, folks, for the record. The main thing is we wanted to get this bracket that holds the parking brake cable on so we can get behind here and get the nut off. But likely we're going to come in here with the Sawzall anyways and go silly. See if we can't get that nut off there. Nut, and then there's a flat washer. Boom. You can give it the old college try, but a good chance the bolt that's there you can't recognize because it looks like the rest of the car is not going to come out. So I would appreciate it though if this one comes out. I would be grateful. So try to send it some. All right, so that one turns, so that'll be good. Because eventually we're going to need to take this one out. Ultimately, the goal is to get the CV axle out so we can get to the bearing. So this has got to go, that's got to go, and then we're going to change the bearing on the car. So that's the plan, in case you're wondering. that off. Sometimes that'll heat up the bushing enough where when you rattle it, this arm will come back a little bit so we can get in there easier with the saw. Because there's not a lot of clearance on the inside to get in there with the saw without risking cutting the knuckle slightly. If it comes down to it, we just heat this up a little bit, get that bushing burning, stick a pry bar in here, just pull it back just enough to be able to get in there good with a saw blade. Plus, who doesn't like fire? This is really bad for your torch tip, FYI. Just FYI in there. Easy. Come on, come on. It's really hard on your torch tip. Don't ever let your dad hear you doing that. He used to get really upset with me when I would do that. But guess who taught me, folks? That's all I'm saying, all right? Hypocrite. Monkey see, monkey do. Come on. Oh, baby, that's hot. Ping, I don't know where that went, but it was pretty toasty. You don't want to do that, baby. Come on, almost got you. There she goes. You see how that wiggled back a little? That's what I'm talking about. Because some people are in the comments like, oh, you're hitting it in. How could it be coming out? Well, I don't know the answer because I'm not a physics professor. However, I've worked on a lot of junk and I just know that's how it works. Plus, this has some rearward tension on it. And I knew that it would jiggle back that way. So don't ask me complicated questions. Get in there nice and easy. I don't know. I was gonna say don't push too hard on the backing plates. Usually they're pretty crumbly. All right, so that baby is all up and out of the way. There is a slim chance we can just cut that bushing off. Here, up here, a little bit right here, a little bit right here, then knock that bolt this way a little to get this arm away to get in there with the saw, if that makes sense to you. Like I said, you can shove, if you got no torches or anything, you can get in here with a saw blade, but just try to favor, I don't know, right in the middle of the rubber. So that's about the only thickness you have is however thick that rubber is, which is about a Sawzall blade's worth, to chop this off without cutting the knuckle. Which if you nick it a little bit, forget about it, but if you take a big chunk out of it, I don't know, forget about that too, I guess. Just pretend you didn't see it. I don't know. So we'll nick that sleeve off there. So this is the inner sleeve from the bushing, all right? So we'll just cut the outside of it, leaving the bolt. There's a little bit there. We'll have to get a little more. It's crazy how oxygen won't put out fires, you know? It will eventually. There's a little CO2 upon that. We probably, I don't know if we got enough off there to get the sleeve off. You gotta cut it halfway around. We got a little bit here. Let's see. Close your eyes. There. Okay, the sleeve is gone. The bolt's intact. Air hammers and stuff are almost worthless on this because everything's rubber mounted. We'll leave that right there because we can come through. We'll try to jiggle a little. We just want it to go this way just a scotch so we'll see what happens. Fail. There we go. Basically part fireman. She moved? I think I saw it move. It did. Did that move through the bushing though? That would be super bizarre and helpful all at the same time. Jerk. Nope, it's stuck in the bushing. But we did give it the old spreadaroo, which is good because now we have lots of room. Nothing to worry about. No, it did not burn the CB boot, for the record. Okay, we're good. Let's chop it off. I don't know if this Sawzall blade's got any Sawzall left in it. We'll give it the old try. You cutting or are we just making noise? I'll put a little score in it. It's gonna take a while. These bolts are harder than a Banshee. You know how hard Banshees get. I really should quit being cheap and just go put a new blade in here, but there's just that little bit of life left in it. Hey, what's up, Mrs. O?
It stinks. It's smoky.
It's smoky?
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Oh. Well, that was utterly painful. Why am I being so cheap? There's just a tiny bit holding that thing. There, my God. 3 hours later. And now I'm going to officially retire that blade for the record. Sawzall blades are so expensive. We use the Diablos. And the Diablo carbides are expensive little boogers, but they work good, particularly when they're new. You know, the one that we just used was pretty well wasted. Yeah, CB axle's out. We can do what we need to do. stuck. Should be a couple seals in here. There, both of them are gone. Nope, one of them's gone. Got the inner one here. Come on, baby. They're usually rusted in place pretty well compared to how easy they go back in. So a lot of people are down in the comments wondering why we don't take off the whole knuckle. Well, the fact of the matter is, if we wanted to do that, you know, we would need a park and brake cable and a speed sensor and all that stuff. And it just hits the stupid level. This Subaru's pretty well shot. You can see the oil's just dumping out of the rear shocks. The body of the car is pretty well wasted. Lift's already going up through the rocker panels and such. So, you know, if a guy just wants to drive it without the bearings screaming here, I gotta move you guys. And that's just what we do. We just do the bearing, try to leave all the rest of the crap alone. It's pretty typical New York stuff. Come on, baby. Gosh dang, man. Usually the seals ain't in there that time. You gotta make me upset. There, good night. So there's the other seal. So you got two inners and then an outer, and you can see it's super rusty. So once we get the bearing out, you got to clean all that crap up and clean up the face of the CV axle. And of course, you know, we got to put new bushings in. Let's see, just for grins and giggles, if we can get this one out. Probably not. Josh had to borrow my torch, so we got to go old school. Sometimes you get a hold of that sleeve and you can knock her right straight out of there. Almost. Ah, broke my dang air hammer bit. Well, that sucks. Now this ain't gonna work. Oh, my kid worked perfect. Let's see. So there's all that's left of the bushing. I need to let some fresh air in here. Getting a little dizzy, so we'll let it evacuate, go press Mrs. O. You doing your schoolwork?
Yeah.
Good.
All I have is history and science left.
Well, Mrs. O.
Wow. There,
You're a total fox.
Are you whistling like that?
Nah, I was whistling at you, as usual. What you making?
Some pasta.
Oh, is that pasta from a box? You're such a hack.
Pastaroni.
Pastaroni, wow. Hi, kitty. Hi, Luna. What's the matter, pumpkin? Come here, come see Papa. How are you? Oh, you didn't even eat your food over there, Looney. You missed a piece. Here. Come here, kitty. Come here, kitty. Show me your trick. Oh, yeah. Get it. What's Luna eating there, Miss? A little bit of...
Some venison.
A little bit of baby deer. Wow.
Scabbins baby deer.
Don't you feel guilty?
No.
Not really, me neither. So how long before lunch you think?
Not long. I gotta go home and shoot.
Oh, gotta go home and shoot. Well, I'll get you out of here then.
What? When? After lunch.
I'll be out here doing...
Gotta get my rifle ready. Okay.
You're so awesome. I'd marry you again if I had the chance.
You can.
I can?
Yeah.
Really? We can do the honeymoon again? Wait a
Did
minute.
we go on a honeymoon?
No, we didn't.
I
Never
think
mind.
we still. Oh.
Never mind. I'll be out here. Shh. Man, that Mrs. O, she's savage. She's savage on them poor deers. Well, she already got a nice buck this year. Got my phone right. You want to see it? So there's the buck Mrs. O got with her bow and arrow. So she's pretty happy about that. Nice little 8-point there. She got right behind the house. And then my oldest boy got a nice buck this year too. Let me picture that one. You got this one here during the youth hunt there, so he was pretty excited about that. And I'd show you mine, but I get to make it happen. Anyhow, enough about deer hunting. Is there ever enough about deer hunting? Not really in my book. So what we're doing here is just using the ball joint press just to smush it out. I intended on just pushing out the middle, but the whole thing came, which is great, which kind of sucks a little because it might be stuck in here. But we'll knock it out of here, but the good news is it's out of here. Now we're just gonna take and clean these up a little with some sandpaper here. What's up, Mrs. O?
You got a homemade tool there?
Yeah. It's the sandpaper whipper. I just showed the people your deer. Told them your whole story too.
Which deer?
Your buck you just got with your
This
bow.
deer?
Yeah. Show them a picture.
You
Yeah.
told them the whole
I didn't tell them the whole story.
No.
I didn't tell them how panicky you were. You might not have made a good shot, but lo and behold, you did. But you say that every time you get a deer, so I don't even
Every
believe you anymore.
Every time.
So we're gonna take and just push our bushings in. We'll lube them up a little bit, just using some regular silicone paste here on these. They don't push in that difficult, to be honest with you. This is providing you have all the crud cleaned out of them there. Now we'll just use the ball joint press to push it in also. I'm sure there's a special tool that does this. However, I don't own it. But this will work just fine. I mean, you could darn near push them in by hand here. Like I say, you don't need any tools really. It gets about halfway, it'll start getting a little harder. But if you've got it lubricated good, they usually go in relatively easy. So the thing is, it's got the lip on it here. We need it to go through and pop that out. I've just got a piece of pipe with a beat up washer on the back of it. It's about the right size. It seems to work pretty well for these. You just kind of finagle. Maybe you can get a socket back there or something. Anything really. You just need that little extra space. So we're gonna push that straight through. Okay, that should be enough. Now you'll see that it's pushed in a little bit further on this side than it has to be. This side has gone all the way through. So then what we'll do, we'll just kind of even it up. We'll just push it back the way we came. Kind of get it centered in there and everything should be good. If you try to put these in without cleaning out the control arm, they're a real pain in the neck. And make sure you lube the heck out of them, because then they go quite easy. So there, that's it. Piece of cake, new bushings. Got them babies at Napper. Not a sponsor, but they still had them. So there, that's good. Get the other one in, call it a day. We need to clean some of that rust out of there. We're just going to use the old needle scaler. Oh man, she's a little leaky. That's obnoxious. Looks like we got most of it out except for the little angle I can't get to. We'll probably take, well, we got the old bearing and crap in there. We're gonna take and clean this up. There's a lot of rust and junk on this. Lay it out of the way. was that? Yeah, we're gonna get another piece of sandpaper there. Not what I was hoping for. Too much rust. Yeah, we should be pretty decent right there. Yeah. All right. Now the hard part's all done. Now we need to find the ends of the snap ring here. Looks like right there. See if we can't get under it with our little pocket screwdriver. Work that baby out. So don't lose that. Don't forget to put it in either. Rule number 1. I'm gonna try to push the bearing out here with some threaded rod. Actually designed for this job. You guys follow us have seen me use this tool probably 2 or 3 times anyway. I was gonna say thousands of times, but I haven't shown you every one we've ever done. Rest assured, done a few. Baby, there, so out she came. Should be inside here. There she is, there's the old bearing, so I gotta get the new one. Wipe out any schmoo that's in there. Shouldn't be much, just whatever we got in there when we were cleaning around on the backside. Now, we did all that cleaning on the backside with the old bearing in place. You can do it with the bearing removed. It just do it any way you want, really. Make up your own rules. There's no right or wrong. Unless it doesn't work, then it's wrong. But I think we're in good shape. Hole's nice and clean. We'll back it up. Stick that baby up there. Put the nut back on the threaded rod. In she goes. Now before you do anything, even if you gotta go to the back, put the snap ring in. Trust me. Wipe off any schmoo you got on there. I leave the plastic retaining sleeve right in the middle of that bearing when I put it in, because these are double tapered bearings. You take that out, everything falls apart. So I leave that in until I'm ready to put the spindle in. And then we're not ready to put that in until you put the snap ring back in. Now wipe all the old grease and the boogers off of this thing. All right. And then just put that baby back in there. Listen carefully and squint, because if you send this thing flying, you're gonna A, not want to hit yourself in the eyes, and B, you're gonna want to hear where it went. Because these things go flinging. I lost my pocket screwdriver. I guess we'll use a socket. Clickety clack, it's in. Now we can put in the outer seal, and then we can put the spindle in, and then we can put all the junk on the backside at that point. So you can't really mess up these seals as far as mixing them up, because they're only going to go in one spot. So we'll get that baby started. She looks like she started. Just a little tap here. Alright, that started real nice. Let's get a seal driver in. Seal driver, aka just something flat you had sitting around the shop. There she's in. Look on the back side. Make gosh dang sure that none of the that the spring didn't fall out of the seal, because that'll piss you off if it did. Free tip for you, if that's the case, if you have an issue with that, on the back of this seal you actually could have packed it with grease in it. If you're technically a seal driver, if we went and got the appropriate one, would fill this void in the middle, thereby holding the spring out and keeping it from falling off the seal. Using a flat apparatus as we did to pound the seal in, you take the risk of knocking the spring off, not seeing it, you put it together, the seal fails, it's leaking oil all over, you're mad, you gotta do it over, or pretend you didn't see it, but you know what to do, the right thing to do. So either A, use a seal driver, the appropriate one, to expand the inner lip to keep the spring from falling off, or on the back of the seal, pack it with grease, and it greatly reduces the risk of that happening. That makes sense. All right, take some wheel bearing grease. This grease gun, clean off the tip. You don't want a bunch of junk in the trunk or getting all over the seal. So we're gonna coat the seal. It's way too much, dude, but hey, this is Hollywood. So we're gonna, that is, wow. Pack that right down in there. That's Napa grease and a Napa bearing. It's probably compatible. There's that, and then we're gonna get our spindle, because there's no reason that this can't be pushed in right now. Always ask yourself before you put the spindle in, is there any reason I can't push this in? The seal's gonna ride up here on this upper lip, which we've already cleaned. We've already removed the race. And I'm very gingerly, I'm gonna support the bearing on the back side with my left hand, and then using our pocket screwdriver that I found on the floor, we're gonna push out that plastic center retainer without jamming the screwdriver through your fingers and without popping the bearing apart, most importantly. And out she comes. So there's that, that's what holds the bearing together. Tiny bit of schmoo in there. Not that it matters, but it says YouTube. And we want to back up the race so we don't push it out. I want to make sure that that is actually hitting the race. I'm meant to look from back here. Hey, I'll race you. Nope, gotta get a smaller one. Backing up the inner race. Sticking this little guy right here. Get the nut on there. Make darn sure you're pushing against the race. Otherwise, you're just going to pop your bearing all apart. And you'll be upset. Then we're going to drive her home, and when we get down towards the seal, we're going to kind of wiggle it a little so it doesn't get caught up on that lip. That, folks, is that. That's changing the wheel bearing on your Subaru. Did you put the snapper in there? You did. This is the moment when you think about that. All right, so we're good. We're done. Show's over. So now we need to pop the inner seal, the inner seal. Now this one doesn't have a spring. Yes, it does have a spring. So what I was saying is you can pack this whole inner edge full of grease if you were so inclined to do so. If you felt inclined to do so. So we'll stick that up there. And we're gonna have to go get a driver disc or socket or something that fits that as well as we can. But it really sucks trying to do a video and try to get good light for you guys. Because the light that I need is not the light that you need, but there we go. So I'll go get a disc, we'll see if we can't tap that in. They don't go in very hard. Get it all the way. No, the bottom needs to go in a little bit. All right, she looks straight from my house. Then we'll do the inner outer seal. That's not confusing. Make sure you got it going the right way. This just kind of seals against the crusty CV shaft. That should sound solid because my disc driver is hitting here on the outside, and then we just want that seal in flush. Sounded like we had it pretty solid there. We did. So that's that. You just got your two innies, your inner and your inner outer. And then we're gonna take, when our finger's clean, we're gonna put a bunch of grease in there, call it a day. I guess we could just do it with the tip of our grease gun. Because this is your first line of defense of keeping trash out of this bearing. It's a really piss poor design that Subaru made. I think the same guy who designed their head gaskets and valve bodies also was in charge of designing the seal. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Subaru advocate, but when this came out, really shaking my head and thankful at the same time. Because these things go bad just about as fast as you can change them, thankfully. And nobody wants to mess with them. Hardly any shops around here will even do them. I think that's probably why we get so many of them, which I don't understand because, as you can see, it's not an overly difficult task. So there's that. Let's get the axle cleaned up because we didn't do that in part one. Because this is the dilemma, folks. See the axle shaft here? The inner seal that we just put in, the inner is supposed to seal on this surface. The inner outer seals on this surface, but you can see it's just all complete rusty crap. And that's what happens. The seal goes bad, the bearing gets some junk in it, and you know, Robert's your mother's brother, and show's over. So we're gonna take the Whizzy wheel, we're gonna clean this up. Technically, you should probably be putting a CV axle in it every time you do these to, you know, get you the best of the best, but we're working with what we have. Cleaned up the inside, we're just giving it the old shoe shine with some 120. Just to kind of clean up that surface there, give it the best chance to seal. I'll tell you a little something. Josh just came back from lunch, and this happens often, and I've often wondered about this. We got to whisper, we don't want him to hear us. Good kid. Is it normal for guys to spray cologne on themselves when they get back from lunch? I could understand if you're out smoking some dope and you're coming back and you don't want your boss to find out, but I know that's not the case with that young man. And the other thing is, the most eligible bachelor there, Jason, he used to do the same thing. Every time they come back from lunch, they smell like they've been on a date. And I've also noticed some customers that carry cologne in their car. And I just wonder if that's some kind of customary thing I missed out on at some point in my life. Used to be when I come back from lunch, I just smell like fried food or whatever restaurant I went to or whatever greasy dive diner I went in. I don't know. Maybe it's something of the younger generation. Or they're smoking dope. One or the other. But I know that's not it. I know that's not it. Maybe they just like the smell of it. It's something I always pondered. Never put my finger on it. I think we're good. I'll wipe around that edge. They're as good as we're gonna be. I mean, that's pretty corroded. I did take the Whizzy wheel and clean that off. We'll get some brake parts cleaner. Hose that down. Put it back together, stick the bolt in it. go home. Not that it's ever gonna have to come back out. The car doesn't have much life left in it. So we're not too worried about all that business. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt though. The bolt, I haven't found aftermarket. I think it's Subaru only. Usually our local Subaru dealer has half a dozen or so in stock at all times, so that's not a big deal. So there's that, folks. Got to set it down on a jack stand. We'll tighten those up. And then we'll set it down on a jack stand there to put it at ride height. And get the bolts tightened up there. This bolt and that bolt. And that's it. Snug that up. That's torqued 100% spec. 100% to spec. We've got to knock it back down here over the little slot. Keep that from back off. No cotter pins in these, so. And then that's it. There you have it, folks. Replacing the rear wheel bearing on your 2007 Subaru with a big 2.5. Fortunately, most of these have long been put in the crusher and made into razor blades, as Wes would say. Thankfully, the newer Subarus are hub assembly, so you don't see much of these old junkers anymore with this style rear suspension or this style rear wheel bearing. Thankfully, these things are always a monster to do, unless they were brand new. But we never seen those cars because we only see rusty, junky ones. So that's that. I'm gonna put the wheel on it. I gotta go warm it up, give it an oil change, and adios, muchacha. So why don't you guys adios into the comment section. Way down there, the questions, the concerns, the Insty, the Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.